Okay, so 10 reasons why you're leaving Sydney. What's going on, buddy?
Okay, so I just whacked up this list before the show started today because, like last weekend, you said you wanted to do this, so I did up this list. Yeah, it's because housing affordability is out of control, with Sydney being the worst, and there's a mass exodus happening in Sydney at the moment, and it's a pretentious, stressful trap. Yeah, so I guess we can discuss like why you want to leave Sydney or avoid it completely.
So let's kick off.
Yeah.
Number 10.
Oh, you want to go from the bottom up?
Well, you want to go from the least to the most, or the most to the least? How did you write it out?
Oh, okay. Well, number 1 was the most. So
let's go from number
least,
10. Number 10.
Okay, number 10, no-go zones. So with the mass immigration occurring, we're seeing formulate like all these no-go zones forming, and we have these conflicting groups, like religious groups that aren't really compatible with Australian culture. So like all the Muslims and stuff. So
why would they purposely segregate their own people? Segregate you guys? Like, why are you being segregated in your own country? I understand if you go visit another country. Let's say I take you to parts of Africa that I know of, and some parts are controlled by this political party, and the other parts we don't go to because I get that because it's very heavily military restricted. But why are you in Sydney, of all cities, have no-go zones? I don't get it.
I know. Well, neither do I. And it's all these enclaves are forming. I've seen it in other nations, and it just doesn't work. If you go on Google and YouTube about Lauren Southern, she had a video how she was, if you Google throwing out a Sydney no-go zone. And even before she even got close to a mosque, all the cops came out and a senior sergeant or whatever told her not to go down there. And yeah, you're getting these streets where they're in different languages, and yeah, so it's quite concerning. Like, yeah, but even like many years ago, we had these Cronulla riots, because the Australian proper had enough, and it just like exploded out of concerns and Australians being fed up with the situation. So our politicians are using immigration as a weapon, and we're just being flooded in with immigrants. Like we barely can afford to live. We can't afford that. Yeah, and they're using it to keep the property Ponzi going. Like, because the Aussie proper can't, we're restricted to earn a living domestically with the high taxes and everything. So they're using the immigrants to come in and buy everything up. But multiculturalism doesn't work. It's anti-culture. So we're seeing erosion of Australian culture being eroded. So it's pretty sad because we're quite a laid-back bunch, and it used, like with me growing up on the northern coasts, it was a lot more friendlier, and we had a sense of community, and that's going. And these enclaves are just hostile, and
So
I recommend go and look up and search "throwing out a Sydney no-go zone" and look at Lauren Southern's video.
I have it right here. I'm already looking at it. Lauren Southern prohibited from a Muslim no-go zone in Sydney. No-go area Sydney TripAdvisor. Even TripAdvisor has a TripAdvisor area where you don't go in Sydney. thrown out of Sydney, no-go zone. Terror in Sydney, the no-go zone areas without big guns, by the Daily Telegraph. So I'm looking at wow, this is intense. This is intense. And you wouldn't imagine, like, you see, okay, so, Anon, like, if you go to downtown Toronto, okay, they have maybe three or four or five square blocks that is completely Portuguese. The signs are in Portuguese, it's Little Portugal, and then 3 blocks down to the east or south of it, it's Little Italy, and then there's Little Greece, and then there's Little, like, but they're not no-go zones. Anyone just goes there.
Yeah, yeah, even in Melbourne, I've lived overseas as well. Like, yeah, there are cultures that are compatible with ours, and we embrace we love different types of food and all that. But yeah, certain cultures opposing religious beliefs just aren't compatible with ours, and it is a concern. Like, yeah, we can go into the actual specifics, but might get you flagged. But
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on to number 9.
Number 9. So number 9, diminishing quality of services.
Okay.
So I've noticed in Sydney, particularly on the weekends when most of the working force aren't working, those that work 9 to 5 Monday to Friday jobs. If you try and go to a bar, a restaurant, or cafe, you're stuck like waiting ages to be served, and once you place your order, you're even waiting longer. Sometimes I have to wait up to 30 minutes for a coffee. It's ridiculous. And if you go to a beach, like, even if it's not a most common beach, you're forced to park your car like 2 kilometers away because all the parks are taken, and the beaches are just chockers.
Wow.
So it's not quite fun. Like even in the summertime when you really want to go and jump in the surf and cool down. Yeah, but everyone's had the same idea. So congested cities, like, it's the quality of service has just gone out the door. And sometimes they forget your order as well at places, at bars and restaurants, cafes. So you work hard all week with the hustle and bustle. So you want to go and relax a little bit and unwind. And yeah, it's a stressful experience just to get out of the house and go and do something.
Is the city at least upkept? Is it clean, or is this trash everywhere?
It's getting worse. Like, I've seen how London operates, like, and especially with all the immigrants in London. Yeah, they have a different set of standards. Like, it's pretty sad. Also, like, I've seen like in my particular area, there's like trolleys littered everywhere. They steal the trolleys from kilometres away from shopping centres, and I must pass at least 100 trolleys just dumped everywhere. Even in my apartment block, when I'm going to the lift, there's trolleys left there. So,
hold on. Guys watching us in the Western Hemisphere, Northwestern Hemisphere, guys, a trolley is a shopping cart. Continue.
Yeah, so I find it strange. So that must add to the cost of groceries as well if the supermarkets are losing, because those trolleys probably cost over $100 each to make, and they're just dumped everywhere. Like, it's quite funny, but yeah.
Number 8.
There's no respect. Respect. They don't care. They just
they should do what they do. You know what they do in Canada? They actually have a deposit system where you have to put a big coin, an expense, like a $2 coin inside, and then it unlocks the cart in front of you and you can pull it out.
Yeah, they need to do that, I think.
Yeah.
So, but also, like, walking, like, they don't, like, the Chinese and the Indians, they don't they don't even see you, so you have to walk. It's like they own the footpaths, so you have to walk around them, like the Aussie proper are like invisible. So yeah, they really don't want us on our own land. Yeah. So it's very, very sad. Because when I go and travel to other countries, I respect the culture and I want to embrace the culture and I want to experience the culture, but we're seeing an erosion of culture and respect for the inhabitants. So, in Sydney, I just feel like I'm an outsider. It's not my place. So, yeah.
That's how I felt about Vancouver, and that's why I left.
Yeah, so there's the diminishing of services, and you just don't. You feel like a second-rate citizen, like your money doesn't matter. So because the immigrants can just come in and buy us all up. So we're forced to be taxed to the ground, and with the little money that we do earn at the end, we can't enjoy the services in where we live. So that's number 9.
Number 8.
Crime is on the rise. I'm seeing abhorrent stories in the news on a daily basis. So break-ins, violence, drug issues. Even in my own apartment block, there was a sign up saying people have been breaking into the basement and breaking into cars. And even my own letterbox was jimmied open, so it was like identity theft.
What, to pay your bills?
Our mail is being stolen. So, well, for me anyway.
Wow.
So I try not to get anything sent to my letterbox. So so we're going to see crime on the rise even more so.
I got the Sydney crime. I got Sydney news right now up in front of me. Sydney man to be sentenced in October after mini crime spree. This is from today. A hair straightener and cross trainer, a $2 million fine for Sydney crimes. New South Wales Bureau of Crime Statistics as research figures reveals industrial area holding dubious honor of being the city's coke hotspot for cocaine. 2 locked up over half-ton cocaine bust. Senior Sergeant Stephen Horn retires. Sydney's life as a forensics officer. Calls for backup as police struggle with ICE-related crime. That's ICE drugs, right? Huge investigation into crime results in 70 arrests and 650 charges. Wow. Okay, there we go. There's the crime. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. There's even sickening things like families being like murder-suicides and just real sick shit. Also, there was in the news this week some teenagers threw their friend who was disabled off a bridge. It was pretty sad. We're in an age of decadence. We're in the final stage of the empire where we're in an age of decadence. If you go and research this, decadence happens before the collapse. So society's just degrading and falling apart. So there's no consideration for others, and I actually believe that even the government and the police are behind a lot of the drugs as well. They're not doing much about it, but I reckon they're probably pushing a lot of the ice epidemic, and they make money out of it because they have budgets to prop up. So it's in their best incentive to keep crime high because they make money out of it. So the whole system is dependent on crime rising. So
Well, that's how they convert it into a police state, right? And then get you in fear and accept more police on the streets.
Yeah, problem, reaction, solution.
Right.
And so if you go and look that up. But poverty and drugs is a major issue, and it comes down to like the immigrants in China buying us up. Even our energy resources are getting bought up by China. So it's sort of been in the news this week again about our power companies being bought up by China. So all of our assets getting sold off, that's going to increase our costs of living, and
Right.
crime's gonna skyrocket. So
Number 7.
So next, number 7, nightlife sucks.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard that it's just not. Let's look at some images of Sydney nightlife. Okay, continue. Nightlife sucks.
Yeah, well, we used to have like the partying district for the bars and clubs in King's Cross years ago, and what the vibrant districts get bought out and converted into residential, but it was really sort of a place for people to let loose, I guess, and but King's Cross was quite a seedy part of Sydney anyway. So what the state government did is introduce these lockout laws where you can't go from one venue to another after a certain time.
Why?
So because of crime, or they wanted people to be contained in one premise, and then once you're done there, you have to go home after 1 o'clock or something, and then they tap people off from drinking after a certain hour as well. So we've seen a contraction on where and when we can go and let loose and stuff after working a hard week's work sort of thing. So there's no real place like, except we have the rise of the sports places with the pokie machines. So that's become another epidemic. So the only real places are these pubs with the poker machines. So they're not a fun atmosphere to be in, really. We have the ID system. So you can't get into certain bars and clubs unless you have a government ID that gets scanned into a database.
What?
So
what? Isn't that like in Germany when they ask for your papers?
Yeah, exactly. So all this, and even recently going through airports, even though if you're not flying internationally, if you're only flying domestically, you need a government ID, and if you don't comply, they can send you to jail for 10 years. So we're seeing the erection of these corporate states, even nationally, trying to move between states is becoming more restricted as well. So going to Sydney to other places is not that fun either. I'm sort of jumped the gun here. So, but yeah, nightlife sucks. Like there's if you go out on a Friday, Saturday night, it's essentially a ghost town. So, if you go and look that up.
I'm looking up some of the images here of some really good, attractive-looking women here in the nightclub scene type of thing in Sydney. But a lot of these images are 7, 8 years old. And some of them are new, but a lot of them are older. But let's check the news.
Yeah, there's some clubs where they're very selective on who they let in. Studio 54. Yeah. So so you'll find that with these images that you're looking at, there'll be clubs where the bouncers they're more favoured towards good-looking women with big boobs and fake implants and all that, and lots of makeup, and but when you're an average bloke, you're discriminated against. So you'll find there'll be like 80% women in these clubs. So that's why most of these photos, they're all tarted up chicks.
Hey, can I ask a question, Anon? Why don't you become Minister of Nightlife for Sydney to help grow the After Dark community or economy?
I don't know.
I'm joking. I'm reading an article here. ABC, from ABC News from Australia, always broadcasting crap, says Sydney needs a Minister of Nightlife to help grow After Dark economy. And this emoji there sleeping because it looks like it's a snore fest.
Yeah. But the state government tried to do this Vivid Festival with the lights to showcase Sydney for a month.
Right.
And all the people living here, it was just like a clusterfuck where, excuse my French, where the Vivid Festival, people couldn't get around that easily. It was just crowded, everyone trying to see the attractions on the weekends. So it's just too congested.
Wow. Okay, number 5.
Isolated. So, yeah, Sydney is full of snobs. It's very hard to make friends, and it's a very unfriendly place to be in. Even at work, it's a bit of a shark tank. So you can't really make friends with people at work, and there's no real place to go, and because everyone's concerned with the property situation, and they're like did it up to the hilt. So nobody has any free money, money so that they can go and splurge and for entertainment. So most people just stay home on the weekends due to their mortgage and the cost of living. So
they're house broke.
It's very isolating.
People are house broke.
So there's no real place to meet people, and it's like with all the immigrants, you can't socialize with them. They don't even really talk our language. It's not like in the past with the I guess the Greeks and the Italians and stuff coming here, they were hardworking and they worked hard to assimilate, and they're more friendlier sort of thing. But yeah, the Chinese and the Indians, they're not friendly. So
because I felt that when I was, it wasn't too much the Indians, because I have some Indian friends and stuff, and we find a lot of, I find quite a bit of similarities, especially in the board gaming scene that I'm in the gaming scene, and there's quite a bit of pretty cool people that are really out there that know that kind of scene that I'm in, but a lot of the Chinese community, I just don't know too much of them because they just don't. They don't talk to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very social person when I'm in my store, and when I was in downtown Vancouver, I would strike a conversation with everybody that walked in and talk, and whether it's the weather, politics, whether it's whatever the scene is going on or whatever is happening in the community, and a lot of people just refuse to talk to me, which is fine. But it's I felt that a lot more from the whole Chinese side of it. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, Anon, my ex-girlfriend was Chinese, right? So it's not, I don't have anything against them. It's just I don't have anything against anybody. It's just the way it's being portrayed as, or the way it's being shown as, and the way people are being felt, or how people are feeling about it, right?
Yeah. Well, I just feel like the Chinese in particular see us as rent slaves,
or second class citizens.
Yes. So they come here. They're rent seeking parasites. and they see us as a means to extract wealth. So the Chinese are very smart when it comes to numbers and being able to extract wealth.
That's right.
So that's what they see us for. So I just saw a comment by Mr. E saying public enemy number one is straight white Christian male.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very true.
Anna, are you Roman? Are you Catholic?
I'm Christian. I was baptized and all that.
Good. You were baptized.
And I believe in the Christian values, 10 Commandments, and morals and all that.
Good.
But I don't believe in organized religion and the Vatican and all that.
Yeah. I'm not a whole Vatican follower either. I am Roman Catholic. I have my God. I have my Savior. I have. I don't bow down to, myself too. I practice sometimes. I go to church sometimes. I mean, I should go more often. My wife is more practicing than I am. She's Filipina. So she's very Catholic, very, very Christian upbringing. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, we're coming into times where you either embrace those values or you don't. Mm-hmm. And I think we're being tested. So, and we've come to a point in our society where we have to make choices of who we want to be and what values we want to adopt and practice. So I'm sort of getting towards the point in my life where I'm saying, okay, there's a lot of lessons to be learned here. Mm-hmm. So.
To be very, very frank with you, Anon, with everything that's happening around us, with everything that's been going down, with everything in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, religion is starting to make a lot more sense to me, and a lot of it's starting to come into fruition. And I'm not talking about the apocalypse and the end of the world and all that stuff and Judgment Day. I'm just talking about that a lot of it now, I could see why they don't want us to be religious. I can understand why they want to remove it from us, because
the state and Christian values aren't compatible. That's why you see China banning Christianity, and they want to control the churches. Like they want to control people coming together. And we're seeing that in Australia too. Any possible means of people coming together, they want full control over, and to stamp things out when it opposes their agenda.
Mm-hmm. Okay, number 5.
So mass immigration.
Okay, I've been seeing a lot of articles on the mass immigration coming into Australia. Is it because the Australian proper can't have kids, or it's too expensive to have kids, or they're just not interested in starting families?
I don't think it's because we're not interested in starting families. It's about, well, our jobs aren't secure. We can't afford a home. So if you can't afford to look after yourself, or you're on the precipice of being homeless and destitute, is it really fair to bring a child into the world?
That's
when you're unsure that you can look after yourself, and your relationships are always stressed, and like particularly women have unreasonable expectations. It's like women don't want to be supportive of their man. They don't want to be a nurturing type, and they want to be like women want to be in the corporate world and be equals, but as such. But so that sort of plays into the family unit being broken down. So it's a lot harder to have a family these days, especially when everything is in such disarray. So
Anon, hold on, put the brakes on for a sec. I got somebody, Johnny Blazo, saying, ignorant, racist, xenophobic pricks like you don't deserve to be heard. Johnny Blazo is saying that China is not banning Christianity, that we're full of crap, and that we're racist. So we're looking at here, I pulled up a few articles right now that were posted in the last couple of hours. Police band shut down the large Protestant church in China's capital. China restricts incense and praying. China mulls censoring on online religious content. Pastors in China prepare to lose their lives for preaching the gospel. Beijing needs to show better understanding to churches after deal. Report Chinese government burning Bibles and destroying crosses. That's on the Daily Wire. So there's so much going on here with China banning religion. So I think our friend there needs to calm down there in the comments section.
Yeah, it's not about being racist. I like Chinese food. I like Chinese culture. I followed like Bruce Lee and martial arts and did martial arts as a kid. It's not about being racist. It's about, okay, we all want security in our life, and we want to be able to have a family. We want to be able to lay roots and have our own home. And when people come into our own country and buy us out, that isn't fair. It's not a fair playing field. Like we're taxed into the ground, and the cost of these properties aren't in accordance with what the people who are actually born here can afford. It's not fair. So, and we can't go to your country and buy property. So it's not so why should they be allowed to come here and buy up our properties? It's not fair. So playing the R card is unacceptable, and it's becoming old. Yeah, mass immigration is a major issue, and the government's using it as a weapon, and I fear that they're going to keep on using this play card to keep the Ponzi scheme going.
Can I ask a question, Anon, let me ask you a question. Could the infrastructure, is the infrastructure supporting the mass immigration?
Definitely not. So that comes up to our number 4 issue.
Okay. So
we've had public transport disruptions, like the rail and the bus situation. Time and time again, we've had, especially on the weekends when you want to go and do stuff. We've had public transport disruptions. The rail lines shutting down. Even on my Spotify, it was played like in the ads on my Spotify that, they're shutting down from the 30th of September, the rail lines for rail work. So, and the CBD is like with the light rail rollout, that's been taking ages to fulfill. So small businesses have been affected with the light rail construction. So the CBD is essentially a construction site taking ages to finish. So it's not a nice place to wander around. Like it's just it's ugly. So yeah.
So infrastructure, yeah. So the infrastructure is it can't support the masses or the immigration or the amount of people coming in. Well, how many people do you think Sydney was designed for, in your opinion?
I can't quote any numbers, but we're past the tipping point, I'd say, and the whole notion of everyone must work the same, like the typical office job. For example, everyone must work in the office. Everyone must start at 9 and leave at 5:30, 6 o'clock or later is ridiculous. And then we're spending all that time commuting. So that comes into number 3, commute times and congested roads.
Yes.
So the average time is probably, I'd say, about 2 hours a day commuting. And on a daily basis, we're seeing car accidents. There was a car even that got toppled over on the Sydney Story Bridge the other week. It like flipped over. So if you can Google that up, it was a funny picture.
I think I saw that on the news here.
Yeah, so there's constant road accidents, and the roads are so small. Like if you compared to the US, like I envy their roads because they've planned things out a lot better.
Yeah, the U.S. had a very big plan during the Eisenhower era to expand their highways, and it's more for moving military around the country if it needs to.
Yeah, but like places like LA, the roads are just shit. Like they're crumbling and got cracks. So
yeah, in regards, a lot of stuff hasn't been updated since the 1960s and 70s, right? So yeah, like the quality of our roads are a lot better. Like the tarmac, we don't have as many potholes and cracks as places like LA does. But the thing is, like, there's just too many cars on the road. It's just too congested. So something like a 30-minute trip can take an hour. I mean, a 15-minute trip can take an hour. So so that's not really addressed, and you just get sick of being in traffic all the time. I opted to move closer to work so I can walk and not deal with the traffic anymore, and trucks just are caught mowing people down all the time, and essentially got immunity, the trucks, so they don't do anything about the trucks, and the authorities turn a blind eye. So getting from A to B is just a nightmare, and then finding a park is just hard. It's very, very costly. So because with me in Vancouver, if I was to drive less than a kilometer, I'd almost get into 13 accidents.
Yeah, and you're seeing in the news all the time, like pedestrians getting run down by trucks, for example. Like at least probably 5 people this year have died in my area from being run over by trucks. So
yeah, it's not good.
And yet the government doesn't do anything about it. So they don't really care about the Australian proper. They just care about the money. So
yeah, it's gotten to a point, and that's why I told you earlier that's why religion is becoming more and more. It's becoming more and more. I don't know how to say it. I'm not trying to preach here, but I'm saying it's becoming more and more relevant. That's why everything's becoming more and more relevant. And I said this before, and I don't know how long you've been watching my channel for, but I've been saying that the Antichrist is money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I say, like, yeah, it's all through the Vatican. So the Vatican is essentially the first debtor of man. And essentially things have been flipped upside down so much that we're operating through this corporate entities that are controlled by the Vatican. So in Australia, we have the Reserve Bank of Australia, which is essentially a subsidiary of the Fed.
RBA.
And we borrow money with interest attached. But like all roads lead to Rome.
That's right.
So all our sort of Commonwealth nations are connected to the US incorporated, and then it goes through the City of London and then back to the Vatican. And so I'll probably get a bit too deep there, but essentially the Vatican operates as an intermediary between God and man, and we're tricked into using the legal entity. So if you look up the definition of what a surname is, it means something that creeps from underneath, creepeth underneath like a snake. So a serpent. So the Vatican makes us use these legal entities we're operating through. We're not using our Christian name. We're not operating as actual proper Christians.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's why the Chinese with the Christianity crackdown.
Mm-hmm.
They want to rewrite the Bible so to be a more compatible with their communist regime.
Mm-hmm.
And Australia is becoming more like a communist country as well. So yeah, it's completely incompatible with Christian values.
But people, what it is what we're doing on this, what we're doing, and we're talking here. We're just simply calling a spade, and trying to crack down the problem to fix what's going on.
This isn't about race.
It's not about. It's not. It's. You know what I'm saying? It's not about race. It never was about race. You know, I've always. I was brought up. There's only one race, and it's humans, right? And it's not about that. It's about, you know, everybody living in a very happy utopia or a very happy, you know, everyone living a happy life and moving ahead in life and doing what they can while they're on this earth to live a beautiful, humble, beautiful, blessed life. You know what I'm saying? So Johnny Blazo saying,
yeah,
then stop being racist. So, you know, I don't know how I could be, you know, okay, fine. If you want to call me a racist for trying to address what the problems are, because if the problems don't get brought up or addressed, then the problem will continue to grow and spread. Whatever it is, whether it is mass migration, whatever it is mass immigration, whether it is counterfeit money, whatever it is, the problem spreads, whether a computer virus, whatever you want to call it. But if people want to call me a racist, that's fine. My wife's Filipina, she's Asian. My ex-wife was Muslim. My ex-girlfriend was Chinese. The one before was Chinese, that one. And then before that, the other one was Jamaican. And then the other one was from Barbados. So I don't know how much of a racist I am. I don't know. Am I a racist, Anon, or?
No, not at all. Like we work hard. You're a hard worker, Mike, and
Mm-hmm.
I work mighty hard, and it's very hard to save. The cost of living and the whole property situation, which is the linchpin, and it's just not. It comes down to fairness. Like, why should people from a foreign country be allowed to come and buy us out?
That's what I've been talking and preaching about Australia, for the last 7 years.
It is not fair. Like the people that live here, that are born here and work here, have all these constraints on us, and we're taxed into the ground, and we have a finite amount of money that we have at the end of the day. Yet our property prices are just have been skyrocketing, but they're falling now, thank God. But it's just a joke. It's just not fair. We can't buy in their country, but they can come here and buy us up.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, it's not even just China. It's Mexico. A lot of people tell me, "Oh, Mike, I could buy in Mexico. I know some expats that are living in Mexico." And no, read the fine print. Read the fine print. You can't own anything in Mexico if you're not Mexican.
Yeah. So,
number 3.
Number 3. So, no, we got. Oh, number 2, you mean? Well, number 3 was the commute time, congested roads.
Number 2.
So number 2, the cost of living. So particularly Sydney-siders and Australia in general, mortgage stress levels are on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
Renting is a nightmare, like the real estate agents price fix. So we have these mass quantities of vacant properties, yet the rental prices aren't coming down as much as they should be.
Yes.
But like where I rented before, I saw the property I listed that was $530 a week, and it was listed for 3 months, and they dropped it down by like $150 until the listing was taken off.
Really?
I don't know if they ended up renting it. I don't know if they ended up renting it out, or if the owner moved back in, or if they put it on Airbnb or whatever. But yeah, and I can see all the other apartments, like at least 3/4 of them aren't lived in. They're all mostly empty. So renting is a nightmare, but it's not just the price. They demand long leases and it's a bit hard when employment isn't secure. And a lot of these houses and apartments are old hovels, like with mold and asbestos and 10-year-old carpets and faulty plumbing.
That's what's happening in New Zealand too. 50-year-old carpets actually in New Zealand.
Oh, it's disgusting, and not to mention the noise and air pollution. It's like where I was renting, it was like a road off the highway, and trucks and cars were just even coming past late at night, and yeah, it was very hard to sleep and breathe. So, and the floor space of these units is very, very limited. So you pay a fortune, but you don't get the amenities or quality that you pay for, and the very tiny apartments. So, and the cost of food is going through the roof.
Is that number one?
No, this is number two still, cost of living.
I thought you were adding cost of food for number one. Yeah, cost of food is skyrocketing everywhere, and they're going to blame the price on oil going up. It's going to cost more to transport the food. But what about when the price of oil dropped to $20, $25 a barrel during the big oil crash 5 years ago? Why did the price of gas skyrocket, and why did the price of food skyrocket?
Yeah, and the utilities, power, gas, internet, mobile, the power and gas companies, the Chinese wants to buy all that. So that's a concern. Once the Chinese have a stronghold of all of our power stations, like they'll have a monopoly to just jack up the prices as much as they want. So that's a concern. So at the end of the day, with the high taxes, because so like it's very hard to just be an independent freelancer these days. So more and more so, you have to work these jobs where your wages are getting garnished for taxes before you get paid. So your take-home pay is a lot less. So if you look at the tax rates, the tax brackets that we work under, the government takes a huge chunk of your pay. And so after the cost of living and rent or your mortgage, you don't have much to save for a deposit in Sydney. So cost of living is just astronomical. It's just the quality of life just goes out the door. So
the cost of
But I see that Johnny guy say, hateful, xenophobic logic. It's like it's in the news. You look up even the news this week. Like there's concerns about our national security with China eyeing more of our power assets. So, and our power prices are already high.
I heard people are paying like $400 for some places for electricity per month.
So, yeah, it's disgusting. So, so that's the cost of living.
Number one.
And then housing affordability, which is on everyone's minds. So it's gotten to the point where there's not even any point in quoting any figures or getting into specifics, because overnight the figures will just change. So mortgage stress is on the rise, household debt is on the rise. Like, what is it now? Over 200% of household income or something?
260.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Stagnant wage growth. So why would companies want to pay higher wages when they can just get in cheap labor, like with all the mass immigration coming in? So it's an unfair playing ground. Like, so even if you spent a lot of your early years getting an education and getting a huge student loan, and you got the qualifications and experience, but at the end of the day, companies don't want to pay wages according to what houses are priced at. So
well, if they did that, they're going to have to pay you like $200 an hour.
Exactly. So, like, even though house prices are plummeting, we have a long way to go because, like, what is it, like 13 times the average income? And is that income pre or post tax and expenses?
When you factor that in, it's like 19 times.
Yeah. So, housing affordability is number one issue at the moment, and that's why there's a mass exodus of Australian proper leaving Sydney.
Are a lot of them going to Hobart and stuff, and Melbourne?
Melbourne, I think, like Queensland, is a big hotspot that people are migrating to. I think people that are going to Melbourne will find that in 6 to 12 months' time, it's just going to be the same issues. So they're just going to bunny hop. So Melbourne's going to have the same. Melbourne's already coming close to Sydney. So in 6 to 12 months' time, people will start leaving Melbourne if they've migrated from Sydney to Melbourne. So I don't see any point in moving there because we're going to have the same issue anyway. Melbourne. And the government just tries to meddle with their first homeowner grants to keep the Ponzi scheme growing. But all that does is increase prices. Because if you gave every citizen $1 million each, the prices will just adjust accordingly, and it wouldn't make a difference.
It would no, it wouldn't. It would actually make things a lot worse.
Yeah. So also the last, like this year, they introduced a new scheme to allow people to dip into their superannuation retirement funds, so they can take out 2 lots of $15,000 out of their retirement fund. Yeah, so $30,000 they can take out, and most people don't even have that in their retirement fund anyway.
But do they have to pay it back in a few years?
No, but what this will do is diminish people's retirement funds, and I don't see by the time a lot of people my age and younger and future generations, like, they won't, like, the government will be so bankrupt that like, people won't get the retirement pension. So not only they won't have savings for retirement, but I don't think there'll be a retirement pension by the time they're 65 or 70.
I think we're going to have Mario DeCettis on the show in a week or two. He's going to cover the pension crisis that's happening. And this is a big blow to the working class citizens that have basically given their entire lives to their countries and contributed to the infrastructure and made it what it is today. And
so I'd advise anyone that's tempted to dip into their retirement fund not to do it.
No,
they're better to just leave it there, because it's in a falling market, and it's a trick that the government's trying to push you into to keep this Ponzi going. Like, governments need to stop meddling and just let the free market do its thing, and allow people to go bankrupt. It's going to hurt, but it's better than the unaffordability situation to just drag on much longer, and just to allow prices to correct. Mortgage interest rates are already going up, and the interest-only mortgages are expiring to principal plus interest. So a lot of the speculators that have bought multiple properties, they'll be forced to sell some of them or all of them, or go under and lose the lot. So we're going to see lots of sob stories, but that's a good thing. So it serves those people right for getting too much in debt, and we need to stop the rent-seeking parasites. Because, like, we don't create anything here in Australia, especially, like, it's all just administrative and speculative. So consumer sentiment is down. So in Sydney, we're seeing a lot of sales and in the shopping malls.
Consumer spending is as lowest it's been since When was it? 1989?
Yeah, exactly. So, and I'm seeing in the shopping malls like closing down sales and 50% off, 60% off, and even higher. So I see in these stores they're trying to get rid of their stock before they close up because they can't afford the rents. Yeah.
Wow. So that's getting hard too. Yeah. Consumer spending is down. Consumer confidence is down. Consumers are losing their jobs, are losing their shirts, and it's scary. It is very, very, very scary on what's happening on all these fronts. It's like I said, it's the perfect storm. The mix is there. You know, when you add that little mix, that little box of cake mix you buy to add to your cake, you know, well, that's the ingredient that's being added right now, and that's what's happening to our perfect storm. Rising interest rates, stress testing, everything. The zero capital outflows from China. No money leaving China anymore. The government putting a clampdown on that. It's all happening all at once, and it's basically investors' worst nightmare. And then you got the news, the media massaging the investors and telling people nothing to worry about, nothing's happening here, when we are going to the most catastrophic collision in. It's a huge catastrophic collision of finance and money and economy and derivative markets and futures markets. It's going to be a huge gong show, and the national debt, international debt, world debt, guys. It's. I'm not trying to preach fear porn here. I'm not trying to scare people, guys. Prepare food. Prepare fresh water in the house for emergencies. Save some bottled water. Because once that electrical grid goes down, or once one bad storm comes along, things get a lot worse. You know what I'm saying? So, Anon, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? You're leaving Sydney. Where are you going?
That's hard to say. I need to build up a bit better rapport with my current employer so I can see if I can work remotely, and so probably further north. A lot of Sydney-siders are cashing out of their multi-million-dollar homes in favour of cheaper houses in the tropical north. So it's a lot cheaper up there. So I'd like to get my own patch of dirt and build something.
Why don't you go up to Darwin? I always wanted to go to Darwin. Why don't you go to Darwin? I'll visit you there.
I don't know. I think because it gets way too hot at the far north of Queensland, and there's mosquitoes, and so probably want to be inland in the middle area between Queensland and New South Wales.
Fine.
Yeah, but people are already leaving. It's costing the state billions. There's a lot of vulnerable postcodes in Sydney. But I'm not planning on bunkering down or buying lots of food where I'm at, because I'll just have to transport it, and can be quite dangerous in a collapse to be stuck in a city. Yes.
Yes. We got to do a survival thing. I'll get some of my friend on here who's into survival and wilderness survival. Maybe we could do a show with him, and he could kind of give us a little bit of an insight on what to do if you are in a city, how to basically make the best of it if you are living in a city during a major collapse. You know.
I watched a movie last night called Leave No Trace. It's like newly released. Okay. You could probably download it somewhere. And it was about this army veteran with his daughter that lives in the woods, and they get caught. They get caught by the officials, and they end up getting set up in a home, but they couldn't quite adjust.
What's it called? So, what's it called? The movie?
Leave No Trace.
Let's see here. Leave no trace. Trailer. Here's the trailer right here. Let's see what it looks like. Playing trailer right now. It looks like it's based off a true story right off the bat. Let's go.
Yeah, it was a bit. It had documentary sort of feel to it.
Oh, it looks pretty good. So living out in the woods, I've seen that. Very green though, very green and lush, and very. When I see that green and lush and that photosynthesis, it looks so promising. And then they're getting arrested here, and I guess like they get taken in, like you said. Wow. Wow, this looks good, man.
Yeah. So yeah, and they get some charity, but it's like when you accept charity, it's not really your home.
Mm-hmm.
There's still sort of unsaid conditions, and and the guy he was pushed to sign up for all this shit, like to have housing and get a license and all this crap, and get a phone and stuff, and it really wasn't his way, sort of thing. Like he was more comfortable just doing his own thing, and quite self-sufficient. But it was something to watch. So if you can get a hold of it,
I will. I'll find it. I'll find it tonight. Yeah. Well, it's getting late. I'm going into my third hour here, and I'm falling asleep. I know the last 40 minutes I've been kind of offbeat for the last 40 minutes. It's just, talking for straight 3 hours and not having any bathroom breaks. It gets kind of tedious after the first hour.
Yeah, it's like you've had a 3-hour show, and but yeah, I didn't mean to offend anyone. Like
we know you don't want to offend anyone. We understand that. Okay, look, Anon, look. If it was Portuguese people doing it, if it was my people, Portuguese people doing it, you would mention the Portuguese are coming, the Portuguese are doing this, the Portuguese are ignoring this. I get it. We get it. It
comes down to fairness. Like, yeah, I'd like to earn millions. I'd like to buy a nice home, but it's like it's completely unfair. Like, it has nothing to do with race. Yeah. So anyway, but
like if let's say if it was the Australians causing a mess here in Canada, I'd be saying the Australians are doing this. Why are the Australians doing that? How are the Australians getting away with this? Why are the Australians destroying? What's their plan? You know what I'm saying? But it's not the Australians,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So it's quite concerning, and like New Zealand's doing the right thing, stopping foreigners from buying, but I don't think it's at the full extent. I think they're still allowing new buildings in the cities to be built and bought by Chinese. So if you look that up.
Well, back a year and a half ago, 1.5, 2 years ago, if you wanted to buy a condo in Vancouver, you would have to go to China to buy it. Because they're releasing the launch purchase date is in China.
Yeah, the showroom.
Yeah. So it's not like we're making this up. It's just that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like if the like if the showroom was in Sao Paulo, we'd be saying it's in Sao Paulo, but it's not. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, it's sort of dragging on a bit, but good talking with you.
Yes, Anon, thank you so much, my brother. We'll keep in touch. Keep us on the pulse on what you're doing and where you're moving around. And thanks for the movie tip. We'll take a look at this movie for sure. Definitely worth looking at. And yeah. Thank you so much, Anon, for everything. Have a good night, brother.
Yeah, you too. Good talk to you soon.
Yeah. Bye. So that was Anon from Sydney, Australia. He wants to leave Sydney. This is the number one reason. So here he goes. No-go zones. Diminishing quality of services. Number 8, crime is on the rise. Number 7, nightlife sucks. Number 6, isolation. Number 5, mass immigration. Number 4, public transport disruptions. Number 3, commute times and congested roads. Number 2, cost of living. And number 1, housing affordability. And yeah, it's happening in almost... I could probably call someone right now in London and they'll tell me the same thing is happening. And they don't know what to do about it. You know, it's something it's more of a global spectrum. And that's why I'm covering all English-speaking countries, because they have the same patterns that are the same patterns. You know, same patterns. You know, you want to see political? Look what happened to Trump. Look what's happened to Faith Goldie. Look what's happening to anyone that leans to the right.